Good morning, Commissioners. I'm here again this month on behalf of Scenic San Diego to speak to you and urge you to reject this idea for the kiosks that's going to be on your agenda item 10 in closed session. I urge you really, as a board, to go back to square one and take control of this process and stop listening to staff who, unfortunately, I think has drank the Kool-Aid brought to them by outdoor advertisers, or maybe some of them came from that place, so you didn't even need the outdoor advertisers. You had somebody inside who thought this was a good idea. But you've already heard what the public thinks about the wraps. And so I think you haven't heard about the kiosks because, again, the public doesn't know. As a former journalist, I fault our local media for not recognizing that this is an important thing. And I realize you do your work in public session, this has gone on undetected by the media, but the general public doesn't really know what you're doing unless somebody shines a light on it. So until that happens, I can tell you a few reasons you should reject it. Your RFP claimed that it had to minimize light pollution, but your staff member, your executive, Mr. Edwards, told me he anticipated they'd be lit 24 hours a day. So we're talking about a drastic transformation to the environment and experience of our Embarcadero with these gigantic, there's no other word for it, TVs. That's what they're going to look like, and if they're going to be lit all night, that's a drastic change to the environment down there, and I don't think it's something that the public wants, and you just haven't heard from them yet. The idea for 40 to 60 of these ads, and that's 60 to 70% of the content will be advertising content. That tells me that the wayfinding, the public service aspect of this is just fig leaf. It's a fig leaf for a massive increase in outdoor advertising, just like the wraps were. And I'm especially concerned about our San Diego appointees to this board, because San Diego has a massive history in being one of a national leader on this topic. And so it seems as though this decision was made in a vacuum, a complete either non-reference to or unawareness of that history of why we look so different from Los Angeles and why that's really important to our public. What about the motion sensors to count how many people and cars go by these things? How do you think that's going to go over with a public that is really on high alert about things that they perceive to be as surveillance these days? I don't think that's going to be very popular. The advertising standards have a caveat at the end saying we can't enforce them if they're unconstitutional, and I think your lawyers have told you that. So it's just a lot of window dressing that you're going to have standards when in fact this could advertise virtually anything, including a lot of things that are going to offend the public. The Clear Channel's reply puts the entire financial risk on the port. People who do this as a major business and they don't want to take the risk, that should hopefully tell you something, not only bad policy, but maybe financially risky. So I know you're talking about in closed session. I appreciate this moment to address you, and we'll be back when it's in public session. Thanks a lot.